All right, so this is Teresa from Closeted Creatives Coaching, and I'm so thrilled that you're here today for the Self-Love Summit. I have a very special guest with me today, Brian. And Brian is a licensed marriage and family therapist with a solo private practice in Burnsville, Minnesota. His goal is to collaborate with you to find more peace, balance, and relaxation in your stressful and busy life. I don't know what you're talking about.
What?
Brian's passion and specialties are collaborating with couples, men, creatives, and teens to help support and encourage meaningful change and positive growth. As a husband and actively working musician himself, he understands the struggles of keeping it all together. Trying to nurture a loving and lasting relationship with your spouse, partner, bandmates, friend, and family is exhausting, stressful, and frustrating. Totally. And I bet it all starts with self-love. There's the segue.
Yeah, you're right. Hi, Teresa. Hi, everybody. How you doing? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so
I'm really
awesome.
excited. Yeah.
So tell me about your own journey to self-love. Like, what does that look like, and how
Sure.
did you get there?
Not an easy road whatsoever. I wrote down a few things of where I came from, and I came from a history of being bullied and teased, back in elementary school, kindergarten, that whole deal. And I learned to not love myself, that I wasn't worth it, and they're obviously teasing me for valid reasons. And although my parents and some good friends tried to help me and say, no, you're good, you're fine, we love you, it's still, the pattern of hearing the negativity just keeps repeating and repeating and repeating. So that's what I believed. And as I moved on through school and grew older and met different people, started playing music and acting, playing sports, my confidence just raised up, and I don't know, I just felt better about myself and was getting more positive feedback. And then I, gradually just started to like myself better, not love myself yet, but tolerate myself. 'Cause it was hard, and guys have different meanings, I think, of self-love and being okay. It's the whole stereotype and how we're socialized as men today. So that was tough too, being a tough guy, and you're not supposed to cry and, be emotional and all that too. So that's really hard. So yeah, I mean, and through my work, the work I do now is hugely based off of self-esteem and raising people up when they're feeling, pushed down and not very feeling good about themselves. So, and I love that part of my job and what I do. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome answer.
Yeah.
And so I have a follow-up question, because you sort of mentioned the guy's perspective, and sort of the joy of having you here is like, yep, I have 7 women and 1 guy who's willing to have this conversation. So how do you think guys think differently about self-love? What is that? I mean, you sort of mentioned the tough guy thing, but what else is like, help women understand what their guy might be thinking?
Well, I think men have maybe even a different definition of self-love and what that even means. For me, self-love means having time and space to myself. I really think it's a, one of the confusions is the definition of self-love and what that is and what it looks like. Self-love for a man, and this is total stereotype and a big generalization here too, but self-love might be going out in the garage and tinkering with the engine for a while. That's self-time for himself and nothing else, no distractions, just me and the engine, or me and my trombone, or me and my guitar, me and my music, just time and space away from things and people and stuff and responsibility. I think scheduling some of that free time is crucial to relationships, that individuation and having time to yourself hey, your wife might have a girls' night. That's totally cool. Guys, maybe poker night, something like that. I completely advocate and encourage that all the time in my work with couples and individuals too. It's just, yeah, I don't know. Does that make sense a little bit?
Yeah, totally. So I appreciate you speaking to how, with women, we talk about, self-love, am I going to the massage table and it's just different. It's sort of,
I do too.
Well,
I do too.
Okay, good to know. But,
But
I
think, yeah.
I think for women, we talk about it more and it's more common language like, I'm going to do this for myself and, whatever. So I appreciate you giving the guy perspective. Yeah.
Teresa, I don't know if you know this about men, but we don't like to talk about it.
What?
Yeah.
What?
There's a book with that title, I Don't Want to Talk About It, by Terrence Real. And I encourage everybody, men, women, anybody and everybody, to get that book and read it. I keep joking with my clients that I'm going to frame it and put it up in my office wall just to have it as a frame of reference, because I use it all the time, because it's so true. Guys shut down, we're embarrassed and shamed, and from when we're kids on, so totally. It's not all the responsibility of the parent too, because when you're a kid, it's all about your friends and what your friends tell you and say, and now there's social media and Twitter and subtweeting and Reddit and all that stuff that I know a little bit, but I don't know what's going on there with the bullying and teasing and cyber stuff. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's so big that I try to, reframe it and keep it small and simple, just for myself to understand what's going on. So
yeah, absolutely. And that book is riveting, by the way. You recommended it to me when we met. I think it was a month ago, and I read it in a week. It was fascinating and
that's
really telling from a female perspective of, this is how guys think. I didn't understand. It just gave me a very big understanding of how they process emotions.
Yes.
Deal with, like you said, sort of there's no real safe place to process things. So it's this acting out that happens, and you go, what am I doing wrong? And it's just the way we're sort of programmed, unfortunately, from our socialization.
Yep. Yeah. I'm glad you picked up that book and read through it.
Yeah, so
that's
thank
good
you.
Stuff. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you touched on it, but I want to hear a little more about your own challenges with self-love and sort of what were the key things you did to cultivate that moving toward it?
I think just taking risks, challenging myself. I don't know, one of the keys to my self-esteem being built in high school was meeting somebody who he was alternative and, independent artist. And he's like, hey, you're okay. Listen, listen to some of this music. You're fine. I dig you. You're cool. And just that embrace of, you're different, but I love you and you're cool. Like, that was the moment my life changed. Just that confidence that he had in me. I needed that at the time. That was the time I needed it. And it just clicked with me. And I'll never forget it. And I know a lot of people don't get that, or they don't have that. And I mean, genetics are a thing too, with like how we do process things. And, I don't know, if your parents have a hard time believing in themselves, we're going to, there's that whole nature and nurture thing too. So, and I'm not a neuroscientist, so I have a very limited scope of knowledge on that piece of it, but I know it's the real deal. So, did that sort of answer that?
Totally.
Question?
Yeah, thank you. And you, like I said, you sort of answered it already. So I was just making sure we didn't miss anything when you sort of were answering the first time. So thank you.
Awesome. Of course.
And so you've also sort of touched on this one as well, but tell me about how, when you're working with people, what's the impact of having that, as you call it for men, self-esteem, but self-love, that sort of inner worthiness? And how do you see it either lacking and how that plays out, or if they have it, how that makes things easier for them as they're working through whatever they're working through?
I think if folks come in with absolutely zero self-esteem, self-worth, self-love, that's really difficult to move forward and to move on. Because I truly believe in intrinsic motivation as opposed to extrinsic or external motivation. I guess what that means is you actually believing in yourself instead of somebody telling you to believe in yourself. That's totally different and really difficult to move through. And I'll be open and honest with people. I will say, I don't even know if you like yourself right now. Are you okay? And then we'll kind of get to talking about that and what their journey is of self-esteem and parents and nurturing and all of that. So I think the key is to get them to believe just a small nugget that they love themselves and they like themselves. And it's huge. It's huge in couple relationships. It's huge with single people going out to find dates and dating and the whole dating scene. Man, if you don't dig yourself, nobody's going to dig you. Nobody's going to like you. If there's just this cloud and mountain of shame and darkness around you, people feel that and they're not going to want to spend time with you. So,
or the wrong ones will want to spend time with you.
Well, wrong ones. I mean,
in quotation marks.
Yeah.
People with similar clouds.
The law of attraction, is that a little bit of that? Yeah. Your vibe attracts your tribe.
Exactly.
Somebody once said that, and I don't know who it was, but I'm going to quote them on that. Yeah. So, but it's tough. That journey to liking and tolerating yourself can be just insurmountable for some folks who are struggling with extreme anxiety and chronic depression and just, I mean, how do they even get out of bed? So
right.
Gratitude and finding something to live for and to get out of bed for is pretty huge. So
is that where you start? I was going to ask a follow-up question. Where do you start with people? So that's where you start with gratitude?
Yeah. I mean, I try to do that myself when I'm feeling down. Is what am I grateful for? Right in front of me. You can't see it because it's in front of me. I listed 10 things that I'm grateful for, and it's right up on my little poster board thing. Including my wife and my family and security. And I listed those things because I was having a hard time one day, and I was like, God, everybody says gratitude is all the rage, and if you do it, you'll feel better. So I tried it, and I look at it every once in a while when I'm not feeling good, and it's nice to really mindfully look at it and think about those things that I'm grateful for. So I think expressing gratitude scientifically is supposed to help you feel better about yourself in some ways. And that's why they say, if you're feeling very depressed or bad about yourself, maybe think about volunteering somewhere so that you can give of yourself to someone else in need, and that you just receive so much more energy back from that. So that's kind of where I would go with that.
Yeah, nice.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So let me think. Do I have a follow-up question? I don't know if I do. Okay.
That's fine.
Know. I was waiting. I was waiting to make sure. I know, right?
That's okay.
No, I was just curious. Everyone sort of has a different way of sort of starting the journey. So I was curious what yours was. So what's your favorite self-love practice?
I'm cheating. I have two of them. My morning meditation is number one. I started meditating on a regular, consistent basis about a year ago. Around the beginning of March last year, I started after I read an article in Rolling Stone from a musician who started doing transcendental meditation. I don't do that, but I sit for 10, 15 minutes and I just sit and breathe. And I think about stuff. I write songs. I've written a couple songs when I've been in meditation, which is cool. I just kind of let thoughts free flow. I don't try to stop the thoughts because that's counterintuitive to meditating. I'm really focusing on the breath and bringing it back to the breath. My second practice is getting a monthly massage. I need the toxicity to be rubbed out of me, and it's so good.
I was going to say that is such the guy version of it. We're all, as women, we're going, well, not quite so deep, and you're going, come on, beat it out of me. I'm sorry. Yeah. This is just kind of stereotypical. I had to tease you about it.
Well, that's okay. There's certain parts, my back and shoulders need that elbow grease, but other parts are like, no, calm down, relax. So yeah, I'm all about the relaxation and music and the lighting and all that mood kind of stuff too. But yeah, those are my top 2.
Nice, thank you.
Of the 15 that I have, those are my top 2.
You have 15. Most excellent.
Well, give or take a couple, 10 or so.
Okay, I won't make you list them then. Give or take a couple 10 or so. I love that. It's very optimistic.
It's all good. All good.
So tell us a little bit about your work with people and more about what you do and how it relates to self-love. You've touched on it in several ways, but I'd love to hear your little spiel as in much detail as you want.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Open-ended question. I like that. Well, I'm in private practice and have an office in Burnsville, and my passion and specialty is working with the creative community, artists, actors, musicians, any performing artist. I really enjoy working with them because I do actively work in that community. I'm a musician, a couple different bands. I own a wedding business too on the side, so I'm a wedding DJ. So I get the whole service industry, the food industry. There's a lot of stuff going on there with. Your creative minds tend to work in the food service industry, whether you're a chef or a server or whatever, because you're mixing drinks and you're a mixologist and there's so many mental health and chemical substance abuse issues in the industry too. So that's a little rough to work with, but I do enjoy that demographic and population. So I guess in my work with those folks, I like to kind of go back in time a little bit with, their family of origin, their parents and their upbringing. We'll talk about nature versus nurture, if they have any history of mental illness or substance abuse. And that's really helpful for me to know so that we can kind of move forward with the treatment plan and to get some goals kind of set so that they know where we're going and so that I know where we're going together collaboratively. I'll never continue working with someone if we don't both agree on the collaborative goals that we set together in the beginning of our work together. So that's always a cool process. I really like doing that. I'll kind of gauge their self-love, where they're at with self-esteem and belief in themselves, what strengths they have, what they think they're good at, what their friends think they're good at. I do that a lot with teenagers too. Like, what is the recipe for a good friend? What, of all the people your friends hang out with, they choose to spend time with you. Tell me why. That's one of my favorite questions for the older teenagers that I work with. So, that
applies to adults too, by the way. Like, if you're having trouble, like, having esteem for yourself, like, why do people hang out with you? I love that question.
Oh yeah. That's universal for adults, kids, teenagers. Yeah. Why do people spend time with you?
Nice.
And it's funny the reactions I get from that one.
Like, give me one fun one.
A 5-minute pause. deep thinking, deep thoughts, really racking their brains about why. And that's gold for me.
So telling.
Yeah. Looks like you took a little while thinking about that. That's great. Tell me more about that. I hate that phrase, but I use it. I'm guilty.
Well, you sort of have to.
Yeah.
It's cliche for a reason.
Yeah. Because it's good.
Right? Like,
and it works.
even as a creative, you still have to do some of the cliche stuff, right? I mean,
yes. Oh, yeah. I still have to practice my scales.
That's right.
Yeah. You as a singer, you know that.
I do. Yeah.
And me
absolutely.
as a trombonist, I know that too.
Exactly.
Ugh. Necessary evils.
I was going to say the necessary discipline to have the fun.
Yes. Yep. Totally.
So I'm curious, as I'm listening to you, I'm really hearing how your journey with your own self-acceptance, with your finding how you creatively fit in the world, which is different than a lot about how other people fit in the world. And I myself have gone through that journey. Seems to play out in this sort of work around self-love. It's sort of like sometimes the more, I'm going to say, quote, unique we are, the harder it can be to sort of find that foundation of I'm okay, even though I think you said you're cool, even though you're different, is what that person reflected back to you. And I think I just want to highlight that as if you're a creative sort of person, sometimes it's hard to know how you fit in the world.
You couldn't have said that any better, but it really is. It's hard, it's hard to work with someone who doesn't believe that they're a good person or are worthy of self-love.
Right.
And, using my self-love therapist within relationship with the folks that are sitting across from me, there's only so much I can do for them and with them in collaboration. And I can plant some seeds and let them know that I love you and I really care about you. And it would be great for you to get to a point where you accept yourself, with who you are and what you are. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And the other thing I'm hearing in what you're saying, and I'm sort of dealt with this on my own journey, is that sometimes our family can be not very accepting of who we are. So not only do we not, So not only do we not fit in our larger community, but not at home either. And so that journey of learning how to be the loving parent within that you never experienced is also, to me, feels like part of the journey is like, you sort of spoke to it, how do I learn to accept myself and really say, I am worthy of some things, even though I've never been shown that in the world around me. Because I can remember I was 5 years old or maybe 6. I mean, little bitty. I was the sensitive kid who felt everything. And I had to go in front of, I think I was in first grade now that I think about it. I had to go in front of the whole kindergarten class, stand up in front and say, I'm a crybaby, because I had cried out on the playground, right? So things happen where the adults in our life are uncomfortable with who we are. And so they sort of...
Did your teacher make you say that?
Oh yeah, I had to stand up in front of the kindergarten class and say it in front of everybody. I still have, little triggering heart palpitations about it. No.
Yeah.
I've worked through that. But so I guess I'm just, I'm giving a long story, but it feels like, sometimes I can imagine when people show up in your office, they've had a lot of messaging and a lot of programming about how, because they're different, they're not okay. And so your work has to be pretty big to try and help turn that bus around, because it's been going for a long time in the wrong direction.
It's pretty crazy, and it's pretty deep. Oh my gosh, first of all, holy cow about your kindergarten experience. I have a kindergarten experience too that I won't get into here today, but that's a huge part of who I am today and why I am the way I am. So my heart goes out to you.
Oh, well,
so, and I was that sensitive guy too, the crier and the, emotional kid. And I love my work with sensitive new age guys now.
I love that.
Call them snags, SNAG.
I love that.
Yep. So, and especially especially I've noticed in my work with the older teenagers, the creative older teenagers, the artists, the musicians, like just feeling that on top of all the hormones and adolescent stuff they're going through, you're an artist on top of that. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Pardon my French,
no, totally.
but that extra added pressure and stress it's nuts. It's crazy. It's huge. So part of my work is just the whole gratitude thing. And I try to encourage some journaling and writing about yourself and why you're creative, what's good about you, strengths-based, really trying to stay positive, as cheesy as that sounds. It's up to them to try it or not. And I like to encourage a lot of experimenting. Hey, try this for a day and see if you like it. If it doesn't, it sucks. Just stop. Don't do it. So let's come back and talk about that. So just little micro experiments with taking a risk and, talking to somebody. It's different too, being introverted versus extroverted. So that's a whole big thing that's out there too. But I love working with that as well. But it's so hard. It's really hard out there.
Yeah, it's complex.
So,
and it's in our society right now for sure is not, of course, we live in a metro area where there's a lot of creative community, which is helpful, but it's also, I would say the majority of places that you would work or be interacting with the community, it's not super friendly to the more creative, sensitive soul, is what I would say.
Yeah. Yep. And again, on top of that, imagine being in an outer ring suburb or a smaller rural area where you're a creative artist and you're the only one.
Right.
And you are just targeted and pinpointed and teased, just the whole thing. So
Absolutely.
It's self-love and confidence is just, that's it. That's it. That's the whole deal. And if you are having a hard time with that, you have a very long and difficult road ahead of you. But if you're able to self-soothe and calm yourself and keep telling yourself the whole self-talk thing, I'm worthy, I'm okay, this will pass, tomorrow's another day, the whole shebang with that deal can be really, really crucial for those kids and even for the adults that are kind of struggling with that too.
Yeah,
but I know how hard that is as well when you're having a tough day or a tough week or a tough year.
Right.
Man.
Absolutely.
So,
nice. Thank you for elaborating on that.
Yeah. Hopefully I didn't go past the time. But,
not at all. Not at all. So tell me in parting, how can people reach you?
Well, Teresa, thanks for asking. I didn't know you were going to ask that. That's a shocker. Anyway, I do have a website. That's www.brianzirngible.com. That's a long name, so do you want me to spell that out?
You know what? You don't have to, because I'm going to have a link next to our interview.
Awesome.
But I just thought if you would say it out loud.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. My phone number's on there too. It's 952-892-8433. And my website is on there, or my email address is on there too, brian@brianzirngible.com. So
Excellent.
That's how you can reach me. I do offer a free 15-minute phone consultation just to see if we're a good fit, to chat through what you're looking for and if I'm the right person for you. If I'm not, or if it's not a good fit, I've got tons of referrals and resources. I'm hugely connected in the community, and I love referring people to good folks that I know or know of. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank
Yay.
you. Any final parting words?
I love myself.
Ooh, good one.
And I love you, and I love everybody, and mostly everybody.
Depends on the moment and what they're doing, right?
Exactly.
Although we love them, it's just we don't have to love what they're doing, right?
Correct. Yeah. Anyway, I thank you for your time and for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been an honor and a privilege.
Thank
So
you. This is fabulous. And Brian and I are looking forward to launching some workshops this spring and fall. So, woohoo. Yeah, it's going to be fun working together.
Looking forward to it. Yeah.
All right.
Woo.
Hey, have a great one. Thanks, Brian.
Bye, Teresa. You too.
All right.
Thanks.